Welcome to Layers of Living Water. I am so honored that you have chosen to join me today. Today we're going to talk about if it's not one thing, it's another. And I know in life, many of you have faced situations that it seems you just go from one problem to another. So listen to today's story and see how it was handled. There was a little girl who was in the kitchen with her dad who happened to be a chef. And she was just complaining about how bad life was. She kept talking about, Dad, it just seems like one problem after another comes. They never end. I just don't know what I'm going to do. Well, my goodness, many days we all feel like that. The father thought for a minute. He said, I'm going to show my daughter a good example. So he reached down, he got out 3 pots that were exactly the same size, filled them with water, turned up the heat and let them start it to boil. So then he took out a potato, an egg, a raw egg, and some coffee beans. He told his daughter, he said, today I'm going to teach you a lesson with these 3 basic items. And the girl looked at her dad and she almost began to laugh. She said, Dad, I don't know what the potato, the egg, and the beans have anything to do with all the problems that I'm facing in life. The dad says, well, let's just see what happens. So in just a few moments, the water began to boil, and the dad took the potato and he put in one pot. He put the egg in the other, and then he put coffee beans in the third. He let them boil for a little bit. He took them off of the heat, and then he set them all in a row on the counter. So as you can imagine, the girl was like going on, well, Dad, this makes no sense to me. I wanted to talk to you about my problems, and you just want to show me some kind of cooking lesson which makes no sense. I think we've all faced that sometime, but the father was very persistent. He said, no, I'm talking about your problems. I want to show you something. The girl said, all right, Dad, I'm here. I'm ready to learn. I don't know what's going to happen, but okay. So they went along. After 20 minutes, the dad took each of the items, set them on a plate in front of the girl. He said, now, once again, I ask you, what do we have here? She said, that's a potato. And that's an egg, and then there's some coffee beans. Well, they used to be coffee beans. Now it's a cup of coffee. The dad said, you're right. She said, well, that's great, Dad, but I still don't understand what this has to do with me and my problems. The dad said, well, why don't you go up and feel the potato? So she put on some silicone gloves and went up and peeled the potato, and lo and behold, it had changed from very hard to a very soft potato that, hey, you could put some butter and salt on it and eat it right up. She said, all right, still doesn't make sense. He said, that's okay. What about the egg? She reached up and peeled the egg. Well, Dad, it's hot, but I don't. He said, go ahead and crack the egg. She cracked the egg, began to peel it, and it had turned into a very nice hard-boiled egg. She kept looking at her dad. She said, okay, Dad, I see what's happened, but I still don't know what this has to do with me and my problems. The dad said, well, why don't you take a sip of the coffee? And she took a little sip of the coffee and she said, hey, Dad, that's really good. That's smooth. He said, all right, sit back down for a moment. Now let me ask you a question. What form was the potato when we put it in the water? She said, well, Dad, it was very hard. You couldn't really do anything with it. And he said, what about the egg? She said, well, that was a raw egg you took out of the refrigerator, so it was all liquidy inside, and it turned into a hard-boiled egg. He said, and what about the coffee beans? Well, Dad, those beans changed the water and made it a really good cup of coffee. He said, you're right. He said, now what do they all have in common? The girl said, well, Dad, you put them all in hot water. And he said, that's right. Let's think about for a moment that the hot water is like the problems that you're facing in life. We all are going to have to face problems. We all have to deal with situations. The question becomes is what we do when the problems come our way. For you see in the example the father was showing his daughter, each case did something totally different. So he said, you see, the potato was hard, but yet when the hot water came, it changed to something soft and wonderful. You could eat it and enjoy it. The egg was very fragile. The shell was thin, and you could easily break it before it went in the hot water, and it turned into a perfectly good hard-boiled egg. And the coffee beans couldn't really do much with them in their raw form, but they turned that hot water into a perfect cup of coffee. The dad looked at his daughter and he said, now, which one are you? She thought for a minute. She said, well, Dad, I'm not sure. And the dad said, well, listen, this is what you need to think about. Each and every item has the ability to change, just as you do. You cannot control whether or not you're going to get in the midst of a problem. Neither one of the three items could control whether or not I put them in the hot water. But when I did, they each responded differently. And they did something with the hot water. So you see, when you get put in a situation, you make a determination. Are you going to just become all soft and ball up and be filled with fear and not really deal with the situation? She said, well, no, Dad, I don't really want to be that way. He said, are you going to be like the egg? You have a very soft shell, but yet when the problem came, you took the problem and you turned into a very nice hard-boiled egg that you could eat and do a lot with. He looked at her. She said, well, Dad, when the problems come, I'm not sure exactly how I handle them. She said, are you, sweetie, like the coffee beans? The coffee beans went into the problem. They actually took the problem and they changed the dynamics of the problem. They turned that hot water into something good. She looked at her dad and she said, oh, Dad, I understand now. And the dad said, that's right. Each one of us does not have a choice or whether or not the problems will come, because they will. But what the key is what you do with it. Can you take the problem? Can you learn from the problem? Can you make a difference in the problem? Can you totally transform the problem into something that will be good for everyone? Just like the three items, the potato became good to eat. The egg became a wonderful hard-boiled egg, and the beans turned the coffee into something good that everybody could drink. And the daughter said, oh, Dad, you're so smart. That's wonderful. So I know when the problems come now, I will look at the problem or situation. I will know that this is an opportunity for me to learn something. And not only to learn something, but to do something in the midst of the problem to change it. I can completely change the problem or the situation. It will do two wonderful things. I will grow and get stronger. I will learn better how to deal with the obstacle. And then everybody else will benefit. So you see, my friend, you are no different. When the problems and the situations come, you have the opportunity to deal with them, to go through them, and to use it as a learning experience. And take what you have learned and totally transform the situation. And when you do, you will be much happier, because rather than the problem beating you down, causing you to be afraid, causing you not to want to be alive anymore, causing you to want to say, I don't want to deal with life anymore, you have now turned the negative into a super positive. And my friend, if we will all do that, life will be much better, because each and every time those problems, those situations come, we see it as a learning opportunity. We grow stronger and we get better, and we help all of those around us to get better. My goodness, what a wonderful story that we could all learn from. I truly appreciate you listening and coming to visit Layers of Living Water this week. Make sure you come back each and every week as we bring another story that will help us all through life's hard times. And share it with your friends. Make sure you subscribe and follow me so that I have more time and more ability to share it with the world. Thanks for watching today.